Hello, welcome back to the circuit. My name is Mark and this is Scalextric Racer. In today's episode we're going to ask the question, can my little Lotus rise up like Lazarus and live again? So if you watched the last edition of Scalextric Racer, you'll remember that I was working on these two discontinued Formula 1 cars by Scalextric, and I was converting them both to digital cars so I could run them on my track. Well, as you can see, they're both now completed, so later on in the episode I'll show you just how that build went, and we'll test them both on the track and see just how successful they've been. Have I created two new downforce Formula 1 cars? So if you watch Scalextric Racer regularly, you'll be familiar with my 2-minute challenges, and you should all know the 2-minute challenge leaderboard. Well, this week I've been doing some work on that leaderboard and I've actually brought it to life. Yes, I've had the woodwork tools out and I've made myself the 2-minute challenge Shelf of Champions. Yes, it's a new piece of furniture in the garage, and later on I'll show you all the cars that have taken part in the challenge, neatly arranged on the Shelf of Champions. Also coming up in this edition, I'm going to see if I can break the lap record for this circuit. So in the 2-minute challenge, the top position on the leaderboard has been held by the same car since week 16, and I'm starting to think that's a bit of a long time to hold the lead. So I've got a car that I think might be able to do the business, so I'm going to get that car out on the track. I'll show you what preparations I make to it, and then we'll see if we can finally beat the lap record and set a new time. But that's actually quite a lot coming up for this edition. But before I get started, I bet you're wondering where I've been for the past 2 weeks. Well, I've actually been outside the garage, so let me come round to the other side of the table and I'll tell you what motor racing adventures we've had over the past 2 weekends. Yeah, so I'm lucky where I live in that I've got two really top quality race tracks really close by, and we try and go to about 4 live racing events per year. So the last 2 weekends I've been to the Donington Park circuit, and the first weekend we saw the British Touring Car Championship. It was the opening weekend, races 1, 2 and 3. And then the following weekend we went to the Donington Park Historic Festival. So the first weekend, the British touring cars, I think it was Ash Sutton's weekend really. He had 2 wins, and Tom Chilton got the 3rd win in race 3. But the racing in British touring car is it's absolutely wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper, plenty of needle and plenty of contact. So if ever you can get to an event like that, it's really worthwhile going. We didn't do much filming, we got some still photographs. But you know, we just wanted to watch the racing. We didn't want to look at the event through a little viewfinder. So I'll put a little montage of the photos that we did get. One thing that we did do was the pit lane walk, and we actually got to meet our personal favourite, who is Jake Hill, and he signed one of my Scalextric cars, so I've got some pictures of that which will come up in the little montage. And then the weekend after we went to the Donington Park Historic Festival. The racing there is probably a little bit more tamer. There's a lot of exhibition events more than competitive events, and you know, if you can imagine the worth of some of the historic cars that are going round, you can perhaps understand that. But there was some beautiful cars on show, and again we've got lots of still pictures. I'm putting up a montage now so you can see them. So really that's where I've been for the past 2 weeks, and hence why this video is a little bit late coming out. But nevertheless, let's crack on, and we'll go on now and show you my Shelf of Champions. A few episodes ago I filmed a headquarters tour for Scalextric Racer, so you might not have seen it because it didn't actually get that many views, but I filmed it just after I had the ceiling board plastered, and that's made my garage a whole nicer environment for me. If you don't know, down this end of the garage I've got all my Scalextric kit, and down that end I've still got all my tools, and I actually do a little bit of woodwork. I'm not fantastic, but I do get on and do a bit. And the other day I did actually get the tools out. Let me just show you quickly what I've got so you get the idea. This is a working end of the garage, and probably the phrase that everybody's thinking is all the gear and no idea, and that's probably me, because I'm not fantastic with these things, but I manage not to chop my fingers off mostly. But I do have a little go. And then the other day I had quite a lot of timber left over, so I got lots of bits and pieces here. I had a lot of wood left over, and I decided what could I do with it. So you're all familiar with my 2-minute challenges. And after each challenge I normally show you the leaderboard. It's a PowerPoint slide actually, but it shows you the top 10. But I thought, well, I could bring that leaderboard to life by using these old bits of wood, and that's the idea I had. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you my new creation, which is the Shelf of Champions, and there it is up on the garage wall, and surprisingly it's still up on the garage wall, and it's been there for a couple of days now without falling down, so yay, go Mark. So yeah, I made this with a few old planks of wood that I had, and a bit of MDF that was basically just in my way and was in danger of going to the tip. So what I thought I could actually do would be to arrange my cars up on the shelf so you guys get an idea of my entire collection, because you only ever see 1 or 2 cars at a time. But I could also arrange them in the order that they finished in the 2-minute challenge, and then we'll be able to see in quite a visual way which is the fastest cars that I own. So let's go and get some cars down, them out of the house, and I'm going to put them up there and we'll talk you through the current leaderboard. So here it is, our first visit to the Slot Track Racer Shelf of Champions, and we're looking at the top 10 fastest cars in the 2-minute challenge, and coming straight in at number 10 it's the Mitsubishi Evo Lancer, and that got a time of 6.464 seconds. So there's the car, and that's going to go in 10th position on the shelf just there. And so our next fastest car, coming in at number 9, was the Audi Sport Quattro, the Group B rally car. We was expecting it to do well, but it was a little bit lively on the track and I couldn't quite control it, but it got a good time. It got 6.235 seconds, and that brings the Audi Sport Quattro in 9th position. So what car made it to number 8 on the leaderboard? Well, number 8 position is held by that troublesome Jaguar Mark 1, and if you remember, this is the one without the livery on one side and with the squeaky wheels, and we didn't actually think that it would even make the top 10, but after I did a little bit of maintenance on it and did the improvements, I actually got a good score, and it came into 8th position with a score of 6.177 seconds. So the car in 7th position at the moment is this lovely Honda Civic Type R as driven by Jade Edwards, and I've got to say that this is actually probably my most favourite car, certainly in terms of, you know, livery and colours. I bought this from the Slot Car Festival in Gaydon at Christmas. Really like this one. So this is coming in 7th position, and let me tell you its time. It got round the circuit in 6.156 seconds, and at the time we thought that time was absolutely amazing, but there it is, number 7 on the shelf, and it's going to go there. And so where do we go to the 6th place car? And that's this car, the Lancia Delta. This was one of the Group B cars that I reviewed, so we looked at the Lancia Delta and the Audi Quattro. So this car got round in a time of 6.008, so it didn't actually break under the 6-second barrier, but nevertheless that was a really good time. And I think I remember when I raced this one that I had little problem with the handling, so the Group B cars haven't actually been that good on the track, but as I say, just shy of breaking through the 6-second barrier. That's a really good position, and it's put it in number 6 place. coming in fifth place is one of my eBay purchases, and this was a BMW 125i, and this is the first car on the leaderboard that's actually broken the 6-second barrier. So this got down the track in 5.943 seconds, so that's pretty good really. As I say, getting around this circuit under 6 seconds is a bit of a milestone, and this car did it, and it therefore goes in on the shelf in 5th position. So 4th position is held by another one of my eBay purchases, and that's this highly resistant version of the Honda Civic Type R. So this one outstripped Jade Edwards' Honda Civic Type R, and it got round in a time of 6.931, so it was another car that went under 6 seconds, which, as I just said before, is a pretty good milestone for this track. So there it is, this car's in number 4, and it can go in the middle of that shelf there. And so 3rd place is held by another one of my absolute favourite cars, and that is this second purchase that I made from Gaydon, and that's his lovely BMW 330i M Sport as driven by Jake Hill with the Rokit Livery. I mean, it is a beautiful car, but it's also fast because it's in 3rd place with a time of 5.913 seconds. So again, when that went down the track in that time, we thought it was absolutely amazing. But as I say, it's difficult to break the 6-second barrier. This car did it. It goes straight in at number 3. So 2nd place on my leaderboard is a GT car. Now, I don't actually own that many GT cars at the moment, but I was really pleased to get this one. This is a Mercedes AMG GT3, lovely red livery with the sort of day glow flashes on it. Again, I was absolutely amazed by the speed that this got around the circuit. I think we attributed this to the really wide and long wheelbase and the wide tyre, so it sat really low on the track, held really well, and I could get it down the circuit really quickly. So this is 2nd, and this got a time of 5.701, so now we're starting to get seriously fast. So there it goes, 2nd position, the Mercedes AMG GT3. So, I mean, if you've been watching me, you all know what's number 1 on my leaderboard, and it was a car that I didn't actually like at all, but I can't argue with the fact that it was an absolute beast on the track, and it's ripped up all the records. It's held the lap record for my circuit since about episode 16, and we're on episode 24 at the moment. So here it is, number 1, and it is the Pagani Huayra. So let me tell you its time, 5.495 seconds. So between 1st place and 10th place there's a whole second, but this car is in the lead by tenths, 3/10 of a second between this and the next car. So really that car's going to take a lot of beating. It's held the record for, as I say, that many weeks, since episode 16, and I really don't know how I'm going to beat it, but there it is, pride of place, in 1st place on the shelf of champions, the Pagani Huayra. So there we are. As I do my 2-minute challenges, I'll keep this shelf updated. I hope you like the idea, I hope you like the woodwork, I hope you like the fact that I've got all my fingers. So there we go. When I first started doing 2-minute challenges, it seemed that no matter what car I picked, it always got the lap record, and it always went straight in at number 1 at the top of the leaderboard. And that wasn't a fix, that's the way it happened. Until such time as I went round with the Mercedes AMG and the Pagani Huayra, and these two cars got themselves in 2nd position and 1st position, and have held those positions now for quite some weeks. And you know, I'm starting to think that's getting a little bit dull, and I wanted to make a real serious attempt at knocking the Pagani Huayra off its perch at the top of the leaderboard. So I had to choose what car I was going to use to make that record attempt, and it had to be a car that you hadn't seen before. So thinking about it, it reminded me of that kids program called Record Breakers, and when they used to have a collector in the studio, they'd ask them 3 questions, wouldn't they? What was your first, what was your favourite, and what's the most valuable? So for my challenge on the 2-minute record, I'm going to go for my first, and this is my my first digital car, and it's a little humble Porsche Boxster. So the Porsche Boxster, if you're unaware, it's a sort of Porsche that you buy if you can't afford a Porsche. But some people would say that. I don't say that. I don't want to offend the hairdressing community, do I? So there it is, the humble Porsche Boxster. It's a little super resistant car. So I bought this car when I first went digital. I had an analog version of it, and I got rid of that, and I've converted it. I bought a new version which is digital. And back in the day I used to be a rug racer, and I used this car quite a lot. But the thing was, whoever was controlling this car always won the race every single time. And I think that's because the car's quite light, so it goes fast, but it's also got quite a low profile, so it holds the corners really well, so you can get some really fast times out of it. So I stopped using it because it was invincible basically, and that was a bit boring, because when you're having a race, whoever had this car just always won, and I didn't like that. So I reckon this might be the car that can finally knock the Pagani Huayra off its perch. What do you think? Should we give it a go? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in a scrutineer's bay. I'll do this off camera. I'm going to get the top off, get all the fluff out of it, get the bearings oiled, gears lubricated, whatever, put it back together. I think I need to have a little look at the tyres. They seem a little bit sort of dry and dusty, so I'll do a little bit of work on the tyres, see if I can get a bit of better road holding out of it. So I'm going to do all that off camera, and then we're going to make that 2-minute challenge attempt at the lap record. Okay, so while I'm doing that, you guys, why don't you take a look at the two Formula 1 cars that I was working on in the last episode. So let's go over to the scrutineer's bay and we'll have a look at those two cars. So let's update you on the two Formula 1 cars from the last episode. So there we have the Williams and the Lotus. If we have a look at the Williams first, I didn't feature this one much in the last episode. So let me show you what we've done to this. So this one wasn't in too bad a condition. Obviously I've given the body a good clean up in some fairy liquid. I've done the same job on this car that I did on the other one, in that I've fitted a digital chip into it, and I've wired it up to a new red LED on the back there. The actual soldering and wiring I featured in the last episode, so I won't go through that again, but essentially it was exactly the same process for this car. The only difficulty was getting the wires across this back axle, because there was in danger of the motor shorting out, so I had to get the old long nose pliers out and sort of bend the wires around the axle to get all that fitted in. There was actually lots of space inside the chassis so that the digital chip fitted nicely. I couldn't get the exact tyres I wanted, so I have had to buy new tyres because the ones on the previous car were completely split. So I've bought these new set of tyres, but I couldn't get the ones with the Goodyear logo on. But it doesn't look too bad anyway, does it? I also had to buy some new wing mirrors there, so I bought these off eBay. I'm not sure whether that's an original part or whether somebody's 3D printed it, but I mean, it's gone in the car and it looks absolutely fine, doesn't it? So there it is. If you remember, there was 3 cars, and I've basically got down to 2, so a lot of the parts off the other Williams that I had have ended up inside this car, so basically I've got one good one out of 2. I may have enough parts to do another car, another Williams, but we'll see how this one goes first. So what my intention is to get this one on the track and show you it going round, but let me show you the Lotus Camel that I did as well. So that's this car. So again, as I said previously, I showed you the soldering I did to fit the chip to the motor, and that's gone inside the car nicely. You can see the red LED just on the back there. Again, I had to wangle all the wires from sort of the chips sort of midships there, just underneath the pilot's feet. So I had to wangle the wires sort of down this trunking part of the car and over the axle to get the LED in the correct place. I had a lucky find on this because I went through my parts box and I realised that I had actually got some Goodyear tyres for this car, so you can see those fitted there. That's worked out okay. And again, I had to get the wing mirrors fitted there, new wing mirrors off eBay, which I bought and fitted. Probably the thing to point out on this car is a paint job. So this car's been off to the paint shop, aka the son-in-law. So if you remember when I showed you this car previously on the last video, all this black paint at the back here was really badly chipped. So luckily my son-in-law is a good dab hand with the old paint, and he took the car off me and has fixed that up for me. I expected him to mask it off and do it with a spray can, but he's actually done it by hand and freehand as well with just black acrylic paint. It's come out really sharp. If you look, the lines there are really good, so he's got a really steady hand. I'm pleased with that. He's also put a clear lacquer coat over the entire car, and that's made the colour pop quite nicely. Put the spoiler back on there, so excuse me. So also what I've done to both these cars is I've fitted a neodymium magnet, neodymium, basically an extra strong modern magnet, and you can see that just fitted on the bottom of the car there. What I've also done is I've put some black gaffer tape over the magnet. What I've done is I've actually sort of super glued the magnet to the bottom of the car. Now super glue is not a brilliant solution because if the car flexes, the magnet will fall off, and if it falls off onto the two rails, which obviously it will because it's magnetic, it shorts out your circuit, and on a digital track that's something that you really do want to avoid because you endanger, you know, breaking your power supply and all sorts of things. So to avoid that happening, I've just put a bit of gaffer tape over the top there, so if this magnet does fall off, hopefully it'll land tape side down and it won't short out the track. But that car's looking good. Spoiler, so the Williams car works absolutely perfect. This car works imperfectly. I made a bit of a schoolboy error because I did check the chip all over before I used it, but what I didn't check was the little sensor there. Can you see I've had to drill a hole in the chassis and poke the sensor through? That sensor doesn't actually work on this chip, so I had to order myself a brand new chip. With the sensor not working, what it means is although the car can travel around the track, and it travels around quite quickly actually, but it can't measure its lap times, it can't count laps, and it can't change lanes either. So I do need to get that chip fixed, but that's a lesson about, you know, checking the chips before you actually fit them. But there you are. So what I'm going to do now is I've got some video of the two cars going around the track, and I'll play that to you. They are both seriously fast, and my intention is to use them both as pacer cars, and then when I start showing you my collection of Formula 1 cars, we can do the pacer car pursuit against these two cars, so we should be able to get some really good Formula 1 races going, which will be exciting for you to watch. So there you are then, that's my two downforce Formula 1 cars. I think there's something really nostalgic and evocative, isn't it, about seeing these two cars on the track. I mean, this really reminds me of when I used to watch Formula 1 as a much younger man, with Nigel Mansell there in the Red 5 and Ayrton Senna in the Lotus Camel. Two beautiful cars. So what I'm going to do now is get them both going around the track. I've had to put the camera up on quite a high angle to get as much as a circuit as I possibly can. The cars are going really rapidly, so we'll have to see how the footage turns out, but let's cut to that now and we'll have a look. And here's both cars going round now, so Williams slightly in front there and the Lotus Camel behind, coming up on the inside. But these cars look absolutely magnificent on the track, don't they? I'm surprised just how quick they're actually going, and like the real downforce cars, they're sticking like paint to the track, so these are going to be really good pacer cars. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how these have turned out, so look forward to some action coming up. And here we are for today's main event, and this is an attempt on the lap record. So there's the current 2-minute challenge leaderboard. The Pagani Huayra right at the top there is 5.495 seconds. There's a fanfare heralding the start of the event, and we've got the Porsche Boxster on the track. My name is Mark Commonsley. I'm going to be describing the action to you. So the Porsche Boxster, a really light, nimble car. We've got really high hopes that this can set a record. Here come the lights now. We're waiting for the green lights. And we're racing. So here we come through. So the last time this car was out on the track, it was almost invincible. So we've high hopes for this car's challenge. That's a slow first lap. That's 7.896. But let's see how it progresses. It comes through for lap 2. And that's 6.934 seconds. So we're comfortably into the 7 seconds there, but we've gone over the gain there. So we're not doing as well on the challenge here. We've just got a 7.006 and then a 7.1. So we're actually slowing down here. Has this car got it in its locker to break the record? There, that's 6.667. That's much better. It doesn't put it in the top 10 yet, but it's the edge in there. 6.8. So we 6.652, we really need to break through into the 5-second barrier to make any sort of attempt on the Pagani, and that's 6.585. So that's 6.679. Does this car belie the hype that's been built up around it? That's 6.667, so at the moment it's in the mid 6 seconds. Comes through for lap 11, and that's a better time. That's 6.388. That does actually put it in at number 10 on the leaderboard, but no higher than number 10. That last lap there was 6.633, and that's a 6.907. So still we're down on time. Coming through for lap 14, which ends as 6.776. And this attempt is fizzling out. It's 6.518. How disappointing for the people watching. 6.669. Can it throw a really fast one in to get the lap record? No, 6.514. It's done 17 laps so far. And there goes a hooter, so it didn't even manage to complete the 18 laps. So that's going to put it on the foot of the leaderboard in 10th position. We'll just get confirmation of that in a moment. 6.388 was the fastest time. Yes, well, that's another edition of Slot Track Racer, successfully captured in the can. I do hope you've enjoyed that one. It was a bit of a mixed bag, wasn't it? So where should we start summarising it all? I think the first thing we'll talk about is this Porsche Boxster. I honestly thought this was a really fast car, and I did think it would smash that lap record. It must just be like a false memory, but it's actually quite disappointing, wasn't it? So I'm a little bit angry with it. Well, not angry, but you know what I mean. But anyway, it limped onto the into the top 10 in the 2-minute challenge leaderboard, didn't it? And as we now know, we've got the shelf of champions here. So this car needs to take its rightful place in the 10th spot. So it knocks out the Mitsubishi Lancer, which can come down off the shelf, and the Porsche Boxster there goes in at number 10. So yeah, what else have we done in this episode? So we've been off to Donington, haven't we? And we saw the British Touring Car Championship and the Historic Festival. Those were 2 great days out. If you ever get the chance to go to real motor racing, I do recommend that you go. We've had some great days there, and we got more days coming up this year. I finished the build on my 2 Formula 1 downforce cars. So I need to do a little bit more work on this one, because as I mentioned earlier on in the video, the chip is a little bit buggered on that one. So I've got a new chip on order. Once these 2 cars are completely finished, I'm going to use them as pacer cars, and when I start bringing my Formula 1 cars down from in the house, we'll have some really exciting pacer car pursuits with these 2 cars. I think they're going to be really fast and difficult to beat, but that's the reason to come back to my channel and stay watching, because I've got those races coming up and they're going to be absolutely great. So that's it, that's the end of the episode. I do hope that you've enjoyed it. It's a bit of a mixed bag, we've been all over the place. If you've subscribed already, I just want to say thank you for that, and thank you for all your comments. If it's the first time that you found me today, then do please click on the subscribe button below, and then that will help to build my channel and I can bring you more great content. So I think I'm going to call it a day for this episode. So once again, I do hope you've enjoyed it, and if I don't see you through the week, then I'm definitely going to see you around the circuit. Okay, so bye bye for now.